I'm going to set up a scenario if you're good with this.
Go for it.
4 weeks ago, I come home, take something out of my mailbox. It's from the management company that manages my homeowners association. Now, my townhome development's 43 townhomes, is very small. And anyway, it says we've been, policing the neighborhood. We've been looking at the neighborhood, whatever it is, and your mailbox is one of the ones that we've identified that probably needs to be updated. We consider you replace it. Here's the model you need. Here's the numbers. Here's things like that. And conveniently, a kid in the neighborhood whose father is also on the HOA board offered services to fix it, and it was fine because the price was totally reasonable. And when I got the letter, I'm like, I don't like people telling me what to do. But the reality is my mailbox looked like crap. But my question for you is this. If a homeowners association is doing something that you just don't like what is the process that someone should follow? What are the steps someone should follow to at least make sure they increase the chances of being able to influence the HOA the way they think they should be influenced, if that makes sense?
Oh, yes. Well, that's an excellent question and a great scenario, actually. Because mailboxes are a very thorny issue. There were a couple of really critical operative words that you mentioned during your scenario. You said, I just don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I just don't like that is not a reason for anything. And the problem too often that I see is that first knee-jerk reaction of, this is my castle, I get to tell anybody what I want to do with my land, blah, blah, blah. Except the problem is, when you bought your townhome or when anybody buys the condo or an HOA, they agree to a set of covenants.
Yep.
That's the document that governs the restrictions on your land and the affirmative things that you must do, like pay annual or monthly assessments or whatever. And so that reaction you had was probably contrary to what was in your documents. And that's a kind of normal reaction to a lot of things.
What are the steps that someone could take to try to influence their board?
Okay, so the first thing is put that letter down and come back to it tomorrow. Okay, just give your blood some time to chill out a little bit.
Okay.
Then I think the most critical thing is for a homeowner to understand what is actually in their governing documents, their covenants and their bylaws. If you would have gotten yours out, you would have found a clause, maybe a very specific clause or maybe something a little general that said the association has the right to have you maintain your mailbox or a pertinent parts of your property or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want to do a little aside about that because I mentioned mailbox are a thorny issue.
Okay.
A guy in Maryland or Delaware got in a multi-year war in court with his association over a $350 mailbox. And ultimately he prevailed, but it cost him almost $35,000 in legal fees. And so you also kind of have to think about, what am I really going to get out of this? What's the cost benefit here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well,
and I think the most critical thing is I have seen homeowners boards come off the rails. I mean, we've counseled some of our clients, don't do that. That's the wrong thing. You're out of the box. Okay. But in general, that's not the goal of your HOA board. It's to preserve and protect the values of properties in your neighborhood.
That's right.
And so they look at those mailboxes and they know that curb appeal, location,
Yep.
curb appeal.
Yep.
Okay. You know right away that those crappy looking mailboxes are a problem.
And it's not just the value, but the condition of the community can either enhance or take away from your experience living there.
Then the next thing I would do is I would open a discussion with your board, okay, with the board of directors. Typically, an association will send a friendly reminder kind of letter that says, gee, you really need to get your mailbox.
That's what the letter said to me.
Sometimes more aggressive boards go directly for the threat, which is you're violating the covenants and we're about to run over you with a bus.
Right.
Okay. And I don't subscribe to the run over the bus approach. You want to start to try to have a discussion with them about what the issue is and why you believe that it shouldn't apply to you. Okay. And I think that if you could have had that discussion, you in your accent about the mailbox, you would have quickly come to the conclusion you really ought to go do it.
Yep.
But there might be things where I want to paint my house a certain color and it's not in the color palette. Okay, that happens a lot.
That's right.
Okay? Well, the color palette was just a subjective choice that the architectural committee made. So you can go and plead with them. And we actually had a case where a guy came and pleaded that he should be able to use a color that nobody in the neighborhood had. And he said, if you go down to Brookhaven and look at the new houses down there, the new ones that are being built today, these are the colors they're using. And we really need to update our color palette. And so he caused a sea change and got his color palette modified by going to the board and talking to them about what the issue was and having some supporting documentation, okay, to back up his claim. And then after you have the discussion, you want to follow up with a letter or an email. You want to memorialize what was
Put it
said
in
during
writing.
that meeting.
Okay.
And the main reason you want to do that is so that if this keeps going down the road a long way, it could be 6 months, a year, 2 years. And you need to remember what happened contemporaneously at that meeting. Not, well, I remember from 2 years ago, you said X.